Joint Solid Waste District. Like,
Oh,
I know a lot about trash. But I cover Zor, Oliver, Mineral City,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
just the 4 school districts, and then I covered Sandy Valley until a few years, and then, but it was a hard board to cover because they didn't answer too many questions or anything. Sir, are you from Hammond?
I am.
Okay.
My name is Ron.
You built another school though. Okay.
It is.
What's wrong? I just said it was steamy. Humid. Are you changing?
Ryan's talking too much.
Where am I? Okay. Did you hook Mark up with a cool hand in that? I saw it. Okay. Sit down.
I thought it was that first grade.
Huh?
That'd
I
be
just
fine.
asked it.
Okay, that'd be fine if you've got one. Thank you.
Whose phone is that? Does anyone know? Chris, is this yours?
All right. Ooh, I have something I wanted. I have too many papers. Doing everything that's on my list. This is crazy. I just had I'd like to call the Tuscarawas Valley High School Board of Education meeting to order. And if Mr. Phillips, can you please call roll?
Mrs. Green,
Present.
Mrs. Johnson,
Present.
Mr. Overton, present, Mrs. Berger.
Present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Mr. Ben.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much just for this opportunity to meet before our new school year begins. And we just pray for your direction tonight, that you would guide us and lead us to make the directions that are in the best interest of our students, Lord. We just thank you for Jake, who is traveling right now, and we just have to be with him in safety. And just let us have a great meeting tonight and be with us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Additions and corrections to the agenda. I'd like to add that item number 10 and item 11 have been added to the agenda. To approve an amendment to the treasurer's August 1st, 2021 through July 30th, 2026 contract, as well as approve addendum to the superintendent, August 1st, 21 through July 30th, 26 contract. As we see today, there's no public participation, so we will move forward onto the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Burrier. The first thing we have is, and we're honored to have Ryan Weller here tonight. Ryan is the project manager with Hammond Construction, and I've said it so many times, we've got a phenomenal team helping lead our facilities project with Lesko Associates and Hammond Construction and leadership from the state of Ohio and, of course, our board. And it's a great team, and we're excited because not only to have Ryan here, but there's been activity on the premises. So there was this big lull since groundbreaking, and then all of a sudden things are moving again. So Ryan, if you're willing to just give that, just a brief update to the board. I know that they're aware of probably most, if not all of this, but just for the good of the whole, and for anybody that's watching and listening online, that would be great.
Absolutely. Good evening. Thank you for having me. As Mr. Murphy mentioned, there hadn't been a whole lot of activity throughout the summer, at least not out on the job site. There has been quite a bit of activity happening behind the scenes, so I'll start there. We are currently out to bid with the majority of the scope of work associated with the new 712 building. So we will take those bids early next week, and we'll have some information to report within a week or two after that, after we have a chance to vet through all of the bids. So that's a big step for the project. And then for the PK6 project, that is currently in the schematic design phase. The design team has completed their schematic design documents, and we are currently looking at estimating and putting together our schematic design submission that involves a cost analysis, schedule analysis, all those things that will go into the project. And then Mr. Murphy mentioned the activity that's happening out on site. We had a little bit of a delay due to some unforeseen subsurface conditions, specifically bedrock that we encountered in the footprint of the building pad that we did not expect. After a lot of communication with the design team and with the site work contractor, we believe we've come up with the best solution for the project, the most economical solution for the project. There is another item on the agenda associated with that. There's a change order request for that work. So that's the reason that is on the agenda now.
Brian, could you just tell us the PK through 6 schematic design, when will that come in? Is there
the estimate?
Yeah.
We're currently working with Lesko, so we both do an estimate. And before we come to you folks with here, we want to be on the same page with the architect. So
Are we talking a
there's a
month or-
gap there between what they believe the probable construction cost will be and what we believe the probable construction cost will be. So we're just kind of making sure we see things the same before we have anything to report. I would expect within the next 2 weeks, around the same time that we have the bid results, we'll have information to report on the schematic design for the PK6.
Thank you,
You're
Ryan.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Thanks for your leadership and coordination and just helping keep things moving.
I'm excited too. Great to see activity happening again.
Yeah, awesome, Ryan,
Okay.
thank you. The second item under Superintendent's report,
Okay, we're ready.
we're calling Mr. Gooding. Mr. Gooding is not here physically, and is not taking any action or voting on anything, but he wanted to hear. Can you hear me, Mr. Gooding?
Yes.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Well, hello. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
So what Dr. Veransky and I wanted to do is just give a quick overview of the district master plan. And really, we want to take a high-level look at this because you've got this in front of you. It was shared out a few weeks ago in draft form. And really, this is a live document. This is always, I shouldn't say always, it's not always changing, but it's under constant review. It's always under review. But just high level, and then Derek, I'll just probably ask you to jump in here and there. We're not going to go through every item, but certainly, board, we want to, if you've got thoughts, questions, or recommendations on what we could do better or differently, we certainly need and value your feedback. So on the front page, simply the cover, but this really sets the tone for everything. You'll see the target, the bright, bold red. We have really one overarching goal, and that is to provide high-quality learning opportunities for all students. Why? To prepare them for life. That is our goal. It's not just, well, let's educate today, or let's educate this year, prepare you for this year. Yes, that's a part of it, but it's really about critical thinking for life, and that just continues to grow. It's like a continuum. The top two priorities, and they're in this order, it's always been this way here at Tusky Valley, and for a reason, but excellence in our academics, athletics, and the arts, seconded by fiscal responsibility. Those are the two top priorities for the school district. So, of course, it centers around teaching and learning, excellence with teaching and learning. We are a public school system, and then the second goal, or priority, if you will, is the financial responsibility. We want to be good stewards of our taxpayer dollars. Plus, that fits in with our core values. So then you'll see off to this, all of the different spokes, you'll see a category for teaching and learning and professional growth and the culture and engagement, the environments that we set, athletics and the arts, and finance and facilities. So that's the cover page. Then if you start flipping through, we've got, of course, our core values and our mission and vision and focus on the left-hand side of page 2. On the right side of page 2, for this school year, our overarching district priority, our priority goals. Most of these, actually all of them remain the same as 1 year ago. With the exception of, we've added, we're really trying to emphasize high-quality relationships. You know, teaching and learning is great, but teaching and learning is not going to happen at the highest levels that you want them to have until there's a strong connection relationship, which again feeds off of our core values. Then you'll see, starting on page 3, then we start breaking this down. So again, not to go into every little detail, but the first area is everything related to teaching and learning. So you'll see a section there regarding data analysis and planning. What I really want our board to understand, and our community, everything we're trying to do is intentional. This is not haphazard, let's fly by the seat of our pants here at Tusky Valley and hope that things turn out well. We are really trying to be intentional with teaching and learning. Well, there's so many components and factors that feed into that. So, of course, you know, Derek and our Office of Student Services and our teams of teachers, we're going to spend time reviewing our data and looking at the trends, identifying areas of strength, identifying those areas that we've got to get better at, what's happening here. Is this a curricular issue? Is this a teaching issue? Is this a support issue? What do we need to do differently? Then we delve into curriculum and evidence-based practices. Of course, there's lots of subcategories here. Derek, is there anything you'd want to highlight regarding curriculum or?
Just
with literacy. So we started that last year, and we just continue over this coming school year and the year after that. We will be focusing on literacy K-12, specifically with a new adoption K-6. So this year we're starting off with K-2, and that'll be phase 1. Phase 2 will come next year.
Yep, great. Page 5, a few things I'd draw your attention to. The blended learning piece. This is a new piece that's added to this particular strategic plan or master plan this year. The reason is, and there's always been an opportunity for the district to provide flexible learning options, educational options, and credit flex. We've got students that are taking College Credit Plus, students that are in advanced placement, students that maybe are pursuing a mentorship or some kind of internship or independent study. Well, and they need flexibility in their schedule. So we can work one-on-one with that student or family and the guidance counselors and provide perhaps an online piece, whether it be for credit recovery, maybe a student failed a particular subject and we'll provide that remediation and opportunity for them to take a class online. So that's a blended learning piece. But the biggest piece with this is that the Trojan Academy does not exist anymore because of the way the law changed this summer. So we're not operating an online school, but we can provide a blended learning / online opportunity for a small number of kids that may need it based on their circumstances. But there's a lot of prerequisites to go into place. It's not just that a parent or family can say, hey, you know what, because of COVID, we're just going to stay home this year and we'd like this district to provide us an online everything. That does not exist anymore. It did a year ago, but not anymore. So we're thankful we can still do that, but it's really tailored to what students need and their families, but it's a team decision. The college and career, you'll see a few new things on here. For instance, like the Zorville Meet and Eat and the Finances 101. Thanks to Derek for coordinating that and being creative and partnering with local banks like the Dover Philly Credit Union. Dates are established, opportunities are coming in for our students to get that kind of experience. Of course, there's lots of other things if we continue there on page 6 with career. Page 7, this is still under, I think this is all still under teaching and learning. And professional growth. Then we go into our teacher in service and all district staff in service, professional development, goal setting, coaching. Like Derek said, this year a major emphasis is on literacy and with the instructional coach at the K2 level. Then we move into the social and emotional piece. So Character Lab, that was an initiative, Sally, that you brought to our attention, and our team has run with it, and I'm thankful and excited for that. We wanted to continue and expand our Hope Squad opportunities and training for 7 through 12, not just high school, not just 9 through 12 students. Of course, we've got a strong, it's called PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention Support. We've got a strong base for that. We want to continue to refine and expand that. Implementing Guys with Ties, Girls with Charm, grades 2 through 4. That is something that, again, Dr. Varansky and Mr. Street are taking the lead on. I think it's fantastic. I'm excited to see what that's going to bring for our kids. I don't want to bore you with all these details, but so we keep moving. I mean, there's still more ingredients to the social and emotional. Then we move into the safety piece. So this is all falling under, I believe, professional growth, and then now we're into the safety and positive learning environment. So safety, most of that is self-explanatory. Of course, COVID-19, this is year 3 of being impacted by COVID-19 and whatever its variants and whatever. So we'll keep moving through that as best we can. But as the board knows, we're doing our best to also advocate a common sense approach and to allow folks to make their own informed decisions about safety and wellness and health and that kind of thing, and being respectful of people who have maybe differing viewpoints. But as a district, that's what we're trying to advocate for. Finance and facilities. What's kind of funny about this is that you'll notice under finance and facilities, there's one little block that says OFCC. All I can say is that one little block, we could have binders for. Binders for. Mark and I have the binders to prove it. Financial planning, we always prioritize that. We have the capital improvement meetings. once or twice a year. That helps guide our budget and what we're prioritizing in terms of big picture spending for long-term items. You know, that's equipment and buses and technology and those kinds of things. And I'm thankful for Chris's leadership and the folks that serve on that committee to provide guidance on that. Culture and engagement, man, I feel like pretty much all I do is plan and communicate. Plan, communicate, prioritize, communicate. So communication is always going to be a top priority with engagement. But then you're familiar with what we've done in the past with what's called TV Connect, our parent and family engagement series. Well, last year, all of that kind of came to a pretty significant halt. Well, we are bringing that back. We're bringing new life to it. Derek has reformatted the entire thing. It looks beautiful. You can look, a parent or family can pull this out at a glance and say, well, what's happening at Tusky Valley over the next month? Everything from open houses to the Atwood Fall Family Day to superintendent sessions with the superintendent. I'm going to call it sessions with the superintendent or coffee chat. All of that's mapped out. They can click on a link, get the description, RSVP, register in advance. I think it's very, very cool. And of course, we try to build in little incentives along the way too. You've got a card, get it stamped. After so many stamps, then you get a Tusky Valley travel mug. Thank you. So we're really excited about that. Of course, partnering with our churches, we have a strong partnership with our churches too to help bring that family engagement piece together too. After school programming, that's up and running. This is year 5 this is the second grant cycle, our final year of our 5th year of a 5-year program. So this is wrapping up our final year. And we're hoping that we can just, even when it's done, if we're not able to get it again, that we can still provide opportunities for kids. Then I think the last section of the district master plan / strategic plan is regarding athletics and fine arts. And so again, last year was a little bit off in terms of what we could do with crowds, with people. And so we're hoping to move forward in a positive direction with crowds and people around Tusky Valley spirit and to support. We want to the greatest extent possible to support our student athletes and band and cheerleaders and drama, and because all of that just provides that great, well-rounded education. So it's excellence in academics and the athletics and the arts. It's comprehensive. So there's a quick overview of the district master plan, and Dr. Vransky and I would be happy to entertain any questions, thoughts, or suggestions. We've got our pens ready.
Before we move on to some discussion with the board, Derek, is there anything else Mr. Murphy didn't say that you would like to add or comment?
No, I think you did a great job. So.
Any discussion from the board? I will start actually. I would like to comment on something that I've been kind of a platform or something that's very dear to my heart is the Career Spotlight. I'm very excited to kind of the college and career section of this. I'm really excited that we want to promote more out there to our students about, life after school. There's more to careers than just always, going to college. We want to make sure all students know trades and technical schools, and that's something that I'm excited for us to kind of open up a little bit and provide all that information and opportunity to our students at the school. And I know Mr. Murphy and I have talked a lot about that. One thing I just want to point out real quick, I'm super excited to be part of this. We're under the
Yeah,
where was that? Oh yeah, under the communication. I'm looking forward to working closely with Mr. Murphy on kind of doing a spotlight for alumni. So hopefully you can see that come out and enjoy seeing some of our fellow alumni in different areas of the workforce. So.
And really, that piece, that might make more sense to go under the college and career band. Do you think? What do you think, Derek?
That is our purpose.
I mean, it's under
I know that's
communication,
kind of
but
our
perhaps it
purpose,
should go
so-
under the college and career.
Yeah, but, so I'm excited for that, thank you. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Well, Mrs. Berger, can I say a few things?
Yes.
I was just kind of blown away as I studied over it, and to the extent of how comprehensive and right down into details. This is the reason that we have heard across the country about some of the public schools and what they aren't doing. Well, this just shows what can be done and what is being done at Tusky Valley. So I just want to give our kudos to Dr. Bransky and Mr. Murphy and all those that helped put this thing together. But the most important thing is now we're going to implement it. And so that's going to be the exciting part, and I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gooding.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Gooding, before?
No, I don't think I have any questions.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or discussion?
I have no questions. I agree with Dick. I'm really appreciative of the detail that you guys put into this. I mean, it is spelled out very well. Just making sure that it gets executed is the priority, but I think it's very well written, and looking forward to seeing what happens this year.
Thank you.
I would just echo those comments. You both did a wonderful job, and it is thorough, and we are appreciative that you guys put so much work into doing it and putting it together for us. And I think you touched on safety, but just reiterating, I think for the community that for COVID-19 and the Delta variant, we are going into the school year with masks as optional.
Right.
And just stressing that for the time being and hopefully for the foreseeable future.
Right. Right. Thank you.
All right, I'll close out the discussion as the student liaison achievement person. I do have some questions. I'm going to be honest about it. I'll try to keep them to a minimum, but one of the most important questions I have is to Dr. Baranski. I know at the spring of 2021, we had set one-to-one learning goals for each student after MAP testing. Will that continue in the fall until we can go and do our winter testing? Will that continue, or is it different because they go into a different band?
Yeah, so the way that'll work is we will retest as soon as, after the first few weeks and we get into the school year, we will take the fall testing. It doesn't give us growth measure, it'll give us projections, but we can't tell how far kids are growing yet. So at the September PD day, though, we will look at spring 2021 data because those kids are with new teachers. We'll make sure that they're paying attention to that data. What is the story it's telling? So the goals won't be specific yet, but teachers will have an understanding of where those kids are coming from. Hopefully we get back on a regular testing cycle this year, so we'll do winter testing, in December. And then usually we close out right before Christmas break with having those teachers look at that data, and that's where I would expect that we start setting goals with anybody not beating 1 year's growth. That'll be enough data for us to start making decisions. What do we need to do different for the second semester when we come back from break?
Okay. The second question I have is, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right or not, but geodes? Can you explain what that is?
Yes, so geodes are decodable text. So we have really aligned with the science of reading, and we're moving away from whole language. So basically that just means we're paying attention to phonics, phonemic awareness, all of those early literacy skills that we've really been doing the last couple years, but the interventions we have in place didn't match our core instruction. So really we're just aligning that. So geodes will replace, if you had kids come through before, the leveled readers, where your child might be at a specific level, and that's basically where their instruction stays. Well, all of the latest evidence and the research will tell us that's not how we should do it. We really need to be at grade level and then intervene for those that aren't quite there. So geodes are really built on grade level. So as students practice their phonics and they learn those skills of what sounds letters make and how letters work together, the geodes allow them to practice that. So our really K and 1, our core curriculum, teachers worked all summer on rewriting that curriculum. We wrote our own. And so the geodes will support that work that they're doing in the fall.
And I know different students learn different ways. So some kids cannot learn phonetics. That's one thing I could never learn. So visual has always been my key. So are we still doing the additional education for kids who cannot understand or hear phonics?
Yeah, and we have a lot of interventions in place, and we've learned a lot. We wrote our local literacy plan, I think 2 years ago now, that really addresses all of that. We sent our title teachers and a few of our ISs to be trained in letters. That's like a really intensive reading course, and so we have some experts in place now that are helping our core teachers implement that. So yeah, it'll be still well-rounded. We'll provide all of those opportunities that we always have.
Okay, and on page 4, we're talking about reading. We're going away from round robin reading to whole group reading. Now, back in my day, whole group reading was not encouraged because it allowed kids who could not read to get by with not reading. So tell me what the difference is in whole group reading today versus what we did 30 plus years ago.
Yeah, so what we found with research is really there's no evidence that round robin reading works at all, and actually it's the opposite, that it's pretty detrimental. So for example, a kid like me that was truly an introvert in school, really basically what I was doing is figuring out where I was falling in line, and I was just going to go read that section and not pay attention to anything else. So what we've done is we've gotten rid of that. Now, what I don't want to see is we're just all reading as a whole class the entire time, but what we've done is trained our teachers with specific practices of how you pair kids. And what does that look like? And we might do a whole group reading, and I might have you read, but I'm going to talk to you before class and let you know and make sure you're okay with that. And that's what that's what the state of Ohio has done. Ohio is leading right now across the country with literacy, so really we're following their lead on what they've promoted as best practice.
Okay, thank you. I just have, I think, a couple more questions. Let me just go page by page. I want to also talk about the social emotional. I just think it's amazing what you guys are doing, and I also like the part about in this that you have incorporated so much that we learned in our book study last year with all the different literacy and haddock effects and all that, and how all that stuff is going to improve education. So I really give kudos to that because of that. One of the final questions I have is that I like the 21st Century Grant After School Program. We've done an amazing job, and it is one of the best programs around, so I wanted to give kudos, Derek, because I know you are the primary driver for that, for the grant writing, and for keeping that going. I know there's a lot of people involved in that, the ESP team and Erica, but I know you are one of the primary drivers to that, so I want to give you kudos for that. I also want to say that I think, like everyone else did, it's very thorough, very good. I look forward to seeing how we progress, especially after winter, and I would like to make a suggestion or make a comment that I would like us to revisit this after the winter testing and go over this again, where you've made changes, so we are kept apprised of, just the changes and what we've learned. If we could do that, I'd really appreciate that. I think it would be good for our board.
What might make sense is just kind of a mid-year look at this, kind of a status report, but we could then, that would also flow back to what are we finding with our winter map data?
Right.
And to what extent are we setting independent one-on-one goals for students that perhaps are not on track for that one-year growth? So we could do that. Yeah. I'll make myself a note. We'll plan a mid-year review of the master plan.
And like you said, it's a living document, so I would love to see how we're growing and changing, and we are always learning new things. So I appreciate that we are constantly upgrading our ability to learn and grow as a team and as a school district. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
And that's my comments. Thank you.
This, however many pages this has Dr. Vransky's fingers and handprint all. Just is a team effort. I'm in it, but he's really, I thank Derek publicly for his leadership with this, but it really is a team effort, because then a lot of us on our team have access, and we look at it, we refine it, and we just continue to. That's our approach. We just continue to do that. Well, let's take a look at a section, or where are we? Are we on track? Who needs to be following up with that? That comes into the delegation piece a little bit. But yeah, I really appreciate Derek's leadership with so many things that we do here at Tusky Valley, especially when it falls under teaching and learning opportunities for kids.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Gooding, for joining us for discussion.
Yes,
appreciate you calling in, and have a safe night.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Gooding. Safe travels.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.
Dick.
Okay. Moving on to new business, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve items 1 through 22?
I make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? I think it's all self-explanatory there. Roll call, please, Mr. Probst.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes. Item number 5, approve and change order authorizing Hammond Construction to proceed with a proposal for rock excavation at a cost not to exceed $512,083.36.
I make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes. Item number 7, got my numbers messed up there. Approve the following resolution for the year 2001 and year 2022, whereas the Tuscarawas Valley Board of Education wishes to adverse and receive bids, I should have brought my glasses, bids for the purpose of 2 school buses. Therefore, be it resolved, the Tusky Valley Local Board of Education wishes to participate and authorize the Southwest Ohio Educational Purchasing Council and MOERESA to advertise and receive bids on said board's behalf as per the specifications submitted for the cooperative purchase of 2 school buses. Call roll, or do I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes. Item 8 on the agenda, approve a bus bid submitted by Truck Sales for the purchase of 2 buses. Lowest cost, or at the lowest responsive and responsible bid at an approximate cost of $87,344 each after trade-in. Motion to move?
Yes.
Second?
Second.
Call the roll, or any discussion, Call the roll, please.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes. Next item is 9, approve a resolution establishing a capital projects fund for the purpose of accumulating resources for the acquisition, construction, or improvement of fixed assets. Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
This is just an additional capital projects fund for the school district, and the 070 fund gives us more flexibility than we have in the current 003 permanent improvement fund, that we can move money in and out of there more easily. But again, it's going to allow us to set some funds aside if needed for the project.
Right after this, we'll go into item 10.
Okay, thank you. Call the roll?
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes. Our additional, number 10, approve the amendment to the treasurer's August 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2026 contract.
I make the motion. Sorry.
You're okay. Any second?
I second.
Discussion? Call roll?
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes. Item number 11, approve the amendment of the superintendent's August 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2026 contract. They may make a motion, please.
I will.
And second?
Yes.
Discussion? And call roll, please.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Item
Mrs.
number,
Berger?
oh yes. Ready for school to start. Item number 12, there will be announcements. The next regular Board of Education meeting will be held September 13th, 2021, 7 p.m. here at the Tusky Valley High School Trojan Center. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
call the roll, please.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Awesome.